Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Director's Chair.
Okay, so before we break down the principles of leadership, I want to share a bit of my own journey. Quality improvement is not just something that I believe in. It's something I've lived, I've shaped, and I've advocated for many years. And I've had the privilege of being part of the state's quality improvement and rating system, not only as a participant, but a member of the work group that helped shape what the system would look like before it even rolled out. I witnessed firsthand the conversations, the debates, the research, the intentional thinking that went into defining what quality really meant for our state's early childhood programs. Some people might say, well, why did you even get involved? And it's because I believe, and I still believe, that quality improvement shouldn't be a burden placed on directors. It should be a support system. And I wanted to make sure that the system reflected what centers actually needed, what teachers actually experience, and what children genuinely benefit from. And long before my own center began its journey towards higher star ratings, I was already encouraging other directors to get involved, to participate, and to learn about the process. And this was long before I owned my own center. I had just been working at someone's center. And because quality improvement isn't just, it isn't about the score. It's about raising the bar for our profession and the children that we serve. So when I talk about the role of leadership, I'm not speaking from theory. I'm speaking from years of lived experience inside the process myself, from shaping the system to leading my center through it. So there are 4 pillars of quality-focused leadership. There's vision and purpose. When I talk about leadership and quality improvement, the first thing that comes to my mind is a clear vision. And honestly, this became even more meaningful once I joined the state work group and helped shape our quality rating system. Being part of those early conversations really opened my eyes to how important it is for directors to know where they're going. And a center without a vision is like a classroom without a lesson plan. You might make it through the day, but you're not necessarily moving towards anything. And for me, vision wasn't just what we wanted to be, as far as being a 5-star center. It was, we want every child, every family, every teacher to feel the impact of a high quality care every single day. And that's what guides my decisions. And that's what I want to share with my staff. That's what pulled us towards, the ups and downs of getting ready for an unannounced visit. And when our team understands the why behind quality, they're more willing to join in the journey. The second thing I want to talk about is those systems. Systems are the backbone of quality improvement. They're not flashy, they're not glamorous, they don't usually get applause. But without good systems, everything falls apart. In our recent unannounced visit, I found myself so grateful for the routines that we built, like daily health and safety checks, or lesson plan processes, documentation of procedures, classroom observation cycles. None of that happens because someone suddenly panics and throws it together for a rating. It happens because leadership says, this is how we do things there, and then support the team until it becomes second nature. And when I was part of the work group designing the rating system, we talked a lot about how to make it realistic for centers. And that comes back to systems. They should help you and not overwhelm you. I always tell directors, build systems that make quality the natural outcome of everyday practice, not something that you scramble for once a year. And the people development, that's the next piece. And honestly, the heart of leadership is people development. Quality does not come from paperwork, it comes from the people. And I've seen it over and over, how transformative it can be when directors invest in their staff. Coaching, supporting, celebrating, listening. These are not small things. They shape the entire atmosphere of the center. I've had teachers who have come from shy, unsure, maybe even a little intimidated by the expectations of quality improvement, and with consistent support, they grew into confident educators who own their own classrooms and understand the impact of their work. As directors, we don't just build systems, we build people. And that's what truly raises quality. It's funny, one of the teachers came to me yesterday, right before the visit, before we knew the visit was going to happen. And she said, what's my next step to enroll in a college class? I feel really inspired by this process. And I want to know, what can I do to improve my level as a teacher? And so, it's those conversations like that. And shout out to Miss Sheena, who that teacher was, who just earned her CDA a few months back, and now she's already, looking to, how do I enroll for my associates? It's these types of conversations that really help people get in that mindset. And the final pillar I'll say is continuous improvement. It's the recognition that no matter how good we are, there's always room to grow. And when Assessa walked in this week for our unannounced visit, I wasn't really nervous. Not because I thought everything was perfect, but because I knew what we had been improving steadily, not just preparing for one day. Quality is culture. It's a rhythm. It's something you do all year long. Being part of a state quality initiative in those discussions has taught me something that I really feel like I never forget. And that's improvement is a cycle. It's not a checklist. And as directors, we set the tone for whatever our team feels, especially when they're feeling pressured, or are they feeling empowered? And that is going to come from you. As I reflect, right, and I do have a funny story to share, but I'll share it at the end. But as I reflect, I wanna just share a moment from this week. When the Cessa walked in for our unannounced visit, that moment that we all know too well, I didn't feel panicked. I felt prepared because quality leadership isn't something you perform for an observation. It's something you practice every day. And seeing your teachers confident, engaged, and grounded reminded me that the systems we built, the vision we've communicated, and the culture we nurtured are working. And that's the leadership piece. Your center reflects the tone that you set long before the assessor ever arrives. Now, I want to jump into some tips, but I do have a somewhat funny story to tell you. And thank God I'm usually pretty calm. So as I walked in to the center yesterday morning, which is why, one, we didn't have a podcast out. So I'm sorry, I never miss podcasts. But yesterday we had services for my aunt who passed away a couple of days after Thanksgiving. And I went into my center just to get everybody set for the day. Of course, unannounced visit means you didn't know they were coming. So I was getting my staff set for the morning, not so much the day, because I was just going to go to services and come back to work. At 8:10, the doorbell rang. And I was like, of course, of all the days that they show up, it would be the day that I was leaving to go to services for my aunt. And I thought about it for a second and I said, you know what? The team is ready. They've been working really, really hard. Your first instinct is like, oh my God, why today? But then I thought about it and I said, you know what? If anything is a reflection of my leadership, being able to walk out the door on a very high stakes morning and knowing my team had it was pretty friggin' cool. So let's talk about what are some tips that can help you with your team and your program getting ready for your quality improvement. First of all, be present. Your presence matters more than any policy ever will. Teachers don't want a director who hides in the office. They want someone who walks the halls, pops in the classroom, and really truly sees them. And being present builds trust, and trust fuels quality. And the why. We never introduce a new system, a new expectation, or a new process without explaining the why. I learned early on that if teachers understand the purpose, especially how it helps children, they're far more engaged and more consistent. And quality improvement becomes meaningful when the staff understand the reason behind the work. And I can't say this enough. Celebrate the small wins. We are definitely having pizza party today, no matter what the outcome is of our visits. And they come out to 2 different classrooms. This was just the second classroom in the closure of the application, if you will. But sometimes as directors, we're so focused on the big goals, like that 5-star rating, that we forget the victories happening every day. That smooth transition, a beautiful learning center, a tough behavior that was handled with patience, or a teacher who tries something new. These moments are the building blocks for your quality. And when you acknowledge them, you reinforce the culture that you want to create. And please, again, build a culture, not a checklist. Quality shouldn't feel like we have to get ready for observers. It should feel like this is how we operate all the time. And when your staff internalizes the values of quality, when systems become habits, and when positive interactions are just part of your DNA. Then observers don't catch you doing something different. They catch you doing what you've always done. And so that is where the gold is. And don't do it alone. One of the reasons I always encourage other directors to participate in the state quality rating system is because it connects you with the community of leaders who are going through the same challenges and victories that you are. Quality improvement isn't a solo project for sure. It's a movement, and it's leadership that grows stronger when we support each other. So in closing reflection, leadership is the engine that drives quality improvement. It's seen from the state level, from inside the work group, and now within my own center as we push towards the highest ratings yet. Quality doesn't just happen because we hope for it. It happens because we lead toward it. Thank you for joining me on the Childcare Director's Chair. If this episode inspired you, encouraged you in some way, or made you reflect on your own leadership journey, share it with another director, leave a review, or even better yet, text the show and let me know. And remember, every star, every rating, every improvement begins with leadership. So until next time, keep leading with clarity, courage, and heart. And thank you again for tuning in to the Childcare Director's Chair. And as always, have a great day.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sakosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.